When it comes to entrepreneurship, this is not my first rodeo. I've had several businesses before this one. The funny thing is that none of my previous businesses ever turned out the way I'd hoped for. But therein lies the problem, because hope is not a strategy, and planning was not something that had occurred to me prior to getting an ADHD diagnosis, understanding what executive function was, and realizing that although planning is something I can do, it's not something that comes naturally to me and that I need to build some processes around it. So suffice to say, after I realized all of that and started to build compensatory methods, or shall I say just coping mechanisms, for this lack of natural planning ability, I was able to externalize it, create structure, and move forward. And I'll be honest with you guys, my business has been doing steady growth month over month ever since I have learned how to plan. Not only that, I have been way more consistent than I've ever been in previous businesses. And as we all know, consistency is not a strength of us ADHDers. So today I'm going to take you behind the scenes to my quarterly planning process, since we are at the start of Q2, and show you what I think about when I'm going through my plan. So this is going to apply to those of you who are in business and entrepreneurship, but you can also use the same context for planning your work, planning your home life, planning school, anything. Having a plan in place and knowing where it is you want to go is life-changing. So for those of you who fly by the seat of your pants when it comes to life and just react to things as they come up, I am right there with you, and I realized that that was not serving me. Now, I don't want you to get hung up on the system or software that I use, because you can do this in any system or software, and it doesn't even have to be digital. You can do this all in paper plans. However, the most important thing is that you actually have a system for planning, and if you don't, you probably want to get that one figured out first. But what I will do is leave a Google Doc in the links below where you can download the structure that I'm going to walk through now, and you can apply it to whatever system you have in place. So let's get started. But before I go there, if we haven't met, my name is Karen McGill. I have ADHD and I am an ADHD coach. So I help those of you with busy, ambitious brains that really want to get snizzle done, but you can't quite bring your brain into where it is you need it to be. So those are the folks that I help. That is something that I've had to master myself, and I would love to help you too. I'll also share a link to my coaching services below. But without further ado, let's jump into my Notion system, and I'll show you how I think through this process. Okay, so you are in my Life Central dashboard. This is where everything in my life happens. So I'm just closing up all of these things that are just a little bit of white noise, but that's my weekly to-dos. I am going to start this process of quarterly planning in my values, needs, strengths, and bucket list toggle. So if I click down here, I have all of my bucket list, the things that I'm planning to do throughout my life, and this is actually what I'm focused on for Q2. I have my needs assessment that I've done, and you can get on my website. I'll put a link to it below. I've done my VIA character strengths, which is based on work done out of the University of Pennsylvania, and I know what my strengths are. So I'm not going to do this right now, but what I will do is review all of these things, because when you're setting goals, when you're reviewing goals, you want to be thinking about core values, character strengths, what do I need, and what am I dreaming about? So after I spent a little bit of time digesting that, then I'm going to jump into my habit tracker and daily journal, and I'm going to start working on my Q2 goals, which also includes a Q1 reflection. So like I said, I haven't actually formally done this before, so I'm really excited to get started, but I want to show you how I've set things up. This is my quarterly reviews are stored in the same database as my monthly reviews, weekly reviews, and if I choose to do a daily journal, it's all in the same database. So all I do is click on the date, and it's going to populate a few items for me, and then some of the other things I'll be putting in myself. So what's essential, and how I feel, my successes and challenges. I don't always fill these out, but I like doing it because then I have this information at daily views and then all the way out to yearly views. And I'm able to pull up different filters based on these toggles, right, or these little check marks here. So if I just want to filter my weekly reviews, I've got something for that, and monthly and quarterly. And then I have a few metrics that I manage all in there. So once I finish going through all of that, in this toggle here are my three big goals for 2020. One is a revenue goal for my business, one is a personal goal, my relationships, and one is sort of a spiritual heart goal. But those are personal, so I won't go into those. But giving you an idea of what this template is like, I'm going to reflect on the quarter I just had. And that's just going to be a quick list of, what came up, what happened. And then I'm also going to list a few results for the quarter. And that might be based, if I had done a previous quarterly review, which I had not, then I might compare that list of results here. So I'll just put those in. And then I also have linked up another database of, it reflects my wins and my misses. And again, I can do that within my daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly reviews. And then this is my revenue database. And in here, I have like a target of what I want to make in this next quarter. And then it will also review what I made in my last quarter as well. And again, those things can be sliced and diced from the quarter, the year, the week, and the month. In terms of goals for the quarter of ahead, at this point, most of this is reflection on the previous quarter, all of this part up here. But the next parts are really around, what are my goals for the quarter ahead? So this is my goals database, and I have a couple of goals here that I'll continue to fill out. And with that, once I have my goals set, I then have my task database also linked in here that I can, start detailing out the things that need to get done on a day-to-day basis to achieve those goals. And then as a last piece, I'll do a personal reflection, any notes on the quarter. So I know that this is very Notion specific, but you can do this in a notebook or in Asana, Google Notes, whatever it is that you like to use. The idea is to pull through themes. So my big themes are my big goals for the year, a reflection on the previous quarter, and what results came up. Maybe jotting down the things that went really, really well, and things where things didn't go quite so well. And then definitely taking a deep dive into revenue, whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur. It's really important to have revenue goals and also spending goals. This is not something I track in particular. I use Mint to track my spending, but you could also do that in your quarterly review. And then really looking at, based on all of those reviews and what you feel about how things went, and also looking at values and needs and strengths. And again, I encourage you to go take those assessments on my website. They're totally free. Then you can start planning the quarter ahead. And it's basically listing out the goals of what you need to do in order to achieve your big yearly goals, and then what tasks and actions need to happen from there. So that's it at a high level, but it's not the complete picture. So what I also want to underscore is that I'm not somebody who just works and plans all day. I'm a human being trying to have a life. So it's really important that I'm also scheduling my life things in this process as well. So I'm going to give you a few more prompts that I use when I'm going through this from a personal perspective. I think about all of the, if there are any big events coming up, like birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, those sort of things that might require you to schedule a haircut or buy a gift or make travel plans. And then I also make sure I'm scheduling in friend time. I always want to make sure that there's ample connection time in my schedule, because it's something that if I don't intentionally plan, it will go by the wayside, and it's so important to my well-being. Speaking of well-being, I would also encourage you to plan your self-care. What does that mean? It can mean anything from making sure that you've got doctor and dentist and chiropractor, those sort of maintenance appointments on your schedule, and making sure that you're planning them in advance so that you're getting the optimal times that you want. But also planning things for thought time and alone time and downtime and just being a human being time instead of a human doing time. So whatever that looks like to you, however you like to just chill out, it's so important to carve out time for that. The final thing that I would point out in terms of just self-care and well-being when it comes to quarterly planning is taking a broad look at the next 90 days and seeing if there are ebbs and flows. So very often in life, we have seasons that are very busy, but it tends to be an ebb and flow so that it's not constantly busy, busy, busy. And if that is your life, then I want to flag it because that is where we end up in burnout. We as humans, just like in nature or anything else, we have times of rest and restoration and times of like hustle and go. So please take some time to look at your schedule. Make sure it's not all hustle and go and not enough downtime, because that is going to lead you to burnout. And also, it's not great for your productivity or your creativity. If you want your big, juicy, fast brain to work optimally, then you got to take care of it, and you got to take care of your body as well. So make sure that you're getting that into your quarterly plans, and that would be everything I would put in a quarterly plan. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. If you want more Notion style videos, I'm happy to do those, or just planning videos in general. Again, I will link to the quarterly plan outline below so that you can use it in your own quarterly plans. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.